Hi, my name is Koku with blackfilm.com, and I have the honor of sitting down with Trell Thomas. He's one of the executive producers of the Discovery Plus series Profile, The Black Man. Thank you so much for joining me, Trell.
Oh my God, thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be here to talk with you.
No, I'm really excited. Obviously, I sat down with your colleague earlier, Kristen, and it was just so important to me to understand what made you all even arrive at this project and it the way that you did it, and who you even involved. Like, let's even start with somebody like Mac Wilds, right? Like, I know Mac Wilds, as a musician, and I obviously know him from acting, but it's obviously this very serious role. When I spoke to Kristen, she was like, "Well, it makes sense. I know who the man is." So from my perspective, I didn't know that he had those layers to him. So let's start there.
Yeah, involving Tristan McWiles in this project was super important because of all that he stands for. I think that we've seen him on the screens, right, in his different roles, but I've even had the opportunity to get to know him a little bit behind the camera. I used to work on the show The Breaks,
Hmm.
and which was a VH1 show that he was on, and just having conversations with him, I realized how passionate he was about these issues and these stereotypes that we were trying to debunk. So, not to mention the fact that he married his high school sweetheart. They have a beautiful family, a black woman who's incredible in her own right, and the way he's always lifting up and encouraging her. It was just, I just felt like he was a perfect fit, and just had a lot to say about it when we first spoke to him, and so he just felt right for the project.
Yes, and just going into the first episode, which I did watch, there was an intensity to it, right? Because we have these actual personal accounts from people that went through situations where they were profiled and that had, really unfortunate circumstances that were involved in that, but you all were able to paint this illustrative picture of people's lives and not necessarily paint them as downtrodden individuals, or and they weren't even necessarily even perceived as negative. So I know this series is really about making sure that black men are heard and understood in a real way.
Yeah.
I just want to know more about how you approach that, because it really, I think, is intense. And I told Kristen earlier, I feel like it's classroom ready.
Yeah,
Mhm.
when I conceptualized this show, it was around a time when I was watching some documentaries on TV about black men, and I just thought, like, oh my God, like this is it was so heavy, it was so negative, and I was like, immediately I was like, I need a palate cleanser, I need to watch something positive about us. And I couldn't find it. I couldn't find it anywhere. And my parents and my mentors have always told me, like, if you don't see something, then there's a space for you to create it. And so that's
Mhm.
exactly what I wanted to do with this. I think that so many times, like, the pen to our story as black men is often in someone else's hands, and someone who doesn't understand our lives, that doesn't understand that we're not a monolith, that doesn't understand that we wake up and go through our day and go to sleep just like any other race. And I think it was so important to tell our story from our perspective. And guess what else? It's not filled with trauma and negativity at every single point. You know what I mean? And so it was really important to give us the pen to write our own story. And that's why when you see it, it feels uplifting, it feels positive, but most of all, it feels authentic. And that
Mhm.
was the important part of this.
It's very true, Trell. And if you could just let me know or tell us what went into choosing the stories and to talking to the people that you decided to go with for each episode.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That was probably the hardest
Mhm.
part of the process. We did a lot of research. We talked to a lot of people. But mostly we wanted to find black men um, who really had real experiences with the stereotypes that we were trying to debunk, who had incredible and amazing stories to tell, which there's no shortage of black men who have that. But also, we wanted to make sure that we diversified and weren't just in the South, or weren't just in the North or the East or the West. We wanted to make sure that we were finding stories from all over the country. And so, we we interviewed a lot of different people. We spoke to a lot of people. We did a lot of our own research. And then I think that we came out with some very, very dynamic stories that I'm very proud to share with the world.
I think you did.
Thank you.
So what should we take away from this series ultimately? What was the goal here?
I think we should be able to see black men as we are. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean?
Mm-hmm.
Not as you've been told, not as the media has portrayed them, not as somebody who had an experience or is going off a stereotype that they saw.
Mm-hmm.
It's a chance to experience us for for who we really are.
Mm-hmm.
And that's if nothing else, I want people to be able to take away that black men are human, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and we deserve to be treated and respected and loved as such. We're fathers, we're husbands. We need a mental break. We have the same struggles and issues, but also the same triumphs and celebrations as everybody else. And I want people to walk away knowing and feeling that. But most importantly, I wanted us to give a chance. I wanted to give us a chance to tell our own stories for
Mm-hmm.
us, by us. So you can't get it mixed up if it's coming from, like my grandmother used to say, the horse's mouth.
I love it. I love it so much for you, and I love what you all have done with this series. Like I said, I watched the first episode. It's very intense. It's a great conversation, and I love that you didn't necessarily just focus on the trauma. You found people that were able to deal with trauma and overcome aspects and adversity through that. And I think that's something that has been missing from a lot of these conversations is that we're looking at black men as like downtrodden people, violent, whatever. No, this series does not give you that. It's much more informative in that way, and it humanizes people, which is important.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, you get it. I hope that everybody walks away with that same kind of understanding. And
No, it's well done, Trell. And I'm not just saying that to say it. I mean, I really am honored, honestly, that you all, that I'm able to speak to you, Trell. So yeah, I'm
thank you.
glad to know somebody that has this depth.
Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you,
These
thank
folks ain't all brunch and happy hour, like
you.
sometimes
Right,
you meet
right.
some people that's about something. So I really, again, my name is Koku with blackfilm.com, and I'm here with Trell Thomas. We're here to talk about the Discovery Plus series, Profile the Black Man. And Trell, if you can talk to us about, I know the first episode, and then there's different, each episode does talk about different circumstances, right? So if you can just break that down before we go ahead and let you go on
Yeah,
to your
yeah,
friends.
yeah. This is a four-part docuseries. Each
Mhm,
episode looks at a stereotype that black men deal with, and it debunks that stereotype, but then it also shares the stories of black men who are defying that stereotype every day, and they are not hard to find. They're everywhere.
mhm,
We're everywhere. The first episode is debunks the stereotype that black men are dangerous. The
mhm,
second episode looks at black men, the stereotype about black men being absent fathers.
mhm,
Then we look at the stereotype of black men not valuing black women. And then we look at the stereotype of black men can't or don't cry or can't be emotional.
mhm.
So we really dig into like mental health within the black community and within the black male community.
Mhm. I love this, and you have no idea how much I talk about mental health all the time. Just having a therapist or even just a peer group, someone to talk to, or just recognizing that sometimes, you just need something outside of yourself sometimes, right? Like, so I'm
110%.
so glad that you're doing this, and I really appreciate you, Troy.
Oh my gosh, I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much again. My name is Coco with blackfilm.com. I'm here with Trell Thomas, and we've got with the Discovery Plus series, right? Profile the Black Man. It's a very beautiful piece, and they've done a lot of great work. Thank you, Trell.
Thank you.
If you want to see more content like this on blackfilm.com, make sure you like, subscribe, and ring that bell.